Today I want to talk about something that really shouldn't exist in this country. That is working class citizens that are still dealing with homelessness. I think it's crazy in the year 2025 that we even have to potentially experience this. So imagine being someone who works a full-time job and you still have no place to live. Like you clock in every day. Putting your hours 8, oftentimes plus hours a day. And it's like you don't even know what to do after you get out of work, besides potentially go live in your car and look like a freaking crack fiend. It sounds crazy, but it's like you literally clock in every day, put in 8 hours, oftentimes more than 8 hours. And the only thing you have to show for it is actually coming back to your car after work. So let's talk about something that millions of Americans have to deal with in this day and age, and that is the working class American dealing with homelessness. For me, it really started making me think, what impacts could something like this have on the future of America, or in our perspective as American citizens on the state of our country. The crazy thing to me is it's not even about people who don't want to work. It's one thing if people just don't want to work anymore, but there's plenty of people that are still working, even with all the job loss, and companies not even hiring freezes that you'll kind of see going on. But even then, there's millions of people that are working and trying to do everything right. Kind of like myself, to be honest, but are barely scraping by. The definition of paycheck to paycheck, to the point where the roof over your head is literally problematic because it's taking 40-50% of your paycheck.
HUD has it estimated that on any given night, over 500,000 people suffer from homelessness. These are the nurses, the fast food worker gang, retail. And to be honest with you, if I don't play my cards right, it's going to be me too. And I know at this point you're probably asking yourself, how do we get there? I know I live in Maryland. The first glaring obvious thing is the price of rent. Especially if you live in one of these rich counties, literally, just to get a 1-bedroom out in Maryland will run you about $2,000. Minimum wage, I believe, has stayed the same since 2009, and that ain't changing. Ain't nobody care about you. No one cares if you can afford your housing or anything like that. Minimum wage is going to stay where it stay at. Then there's gig economy. That's something that's always kind of booming, especially especially if you're someone who's in between jobs. Gig economy is booming, but the only problem is there's no benefits, there's no insurance, there's no job security with something like that. So it's you're shit out of luck on that end, and then half the time you'll have to pay out of pocket for all these things that you lack in a gig situation. And let's say by chance you say, all right, let's see what it do. Let's run through the process. Most places where to lease, at least again, I can primarily speak in my state, but this is kind of national. Pretty much you got to make at least 3 times the rent before you can even go through the application process. So they need their money paid in full up front. And it's ain't nobody got time for it. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Could you imagine being a teacher and educating the next generation and having to live in your car? Or what about being a parent, right? And you have to explain to your kids that yo, this motel we're staying in, for the foreseeable future, this is our home. I feel I see why tent cities and stuff like that keep popping up. Literally, I lie to you not. I went into my community gym, not a local LA Fitness or something like that, but a community gym in my neighborhood just a couple days ago. I can't remember the exact date, but a couple days ago I went in there and there was 5 guys sleeping in there. It was 7 in the morning. I was I don't know what's going on now. I don't know if these guys are homeless or they didn't look like they just finished taking a workout. So I assumed they looked like they were sleeping there overnight. They had pillows and some more stuff going on. So I was Jesus. Is this what it's come to? The craziest thing about it, though, is most people in this country, we are one delayed direct deposit away from being in those same situations. Myself included. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, literally myself included. But that's crazy to think that that's where we are, in this country, in this time, in 2025. Yeah, the future be looking rough sometimes. It really be looking rough sometimes. Then there's the instability. I think of the instability for the children, right? For starters, like, education can't get any worse. Like, I work for a college and I see some transcripts for students that are coming out, like Gen Zers that are coming out, and even some millennials as well. Gen Zers that are coming to like college. And I'm like, yo, bro, let me see your transcripts. And they're like graduating with like 1.4s. Right? I'm like, I don't know who's allowing you to graduate with like a 1.4 GPA. And then so I think about like the instability that's added through things like that, where it's like, okay, how does this impact like a younger generation's education, the up and moving around, or not even having a safe home or roof over their head to kind of be able to focus on things, education. Like, I feel like then there's like stress and mental health, that those things are hanging on by a thread. Like, that's been a conversation for years now, and I feel like it's consistently getting worse. People are turning to drugs, alcohol, and things of that nature to be able to relieve their stressors. And for a lot of people right now, like, yo, the American dream has like been done and gone with. The moment you had to pick up 2 jobs just to be able to put food on the table, forget the whole thing. Like, forget the whole thing. That went out the window. Like, we're going to find out one way or another, but like, what country are we really trying to live in within the next 10 years? So it's like, what can we do? Like, what can we really do? I guess some more affordable housing initiatives, like something real this time. So like, what can we do? I think to myself, right? Like, I guess some affordable housing initiatives would serve the purpose, things that will allow Americans to not be scrambling like every month trying to pay their rent. And like, what about minimum wage? I feel like minimum wage hasn't really raised in this country. Is there a way that like we can get that to at least to a point where it can account for inflation and cost of living? Like, cost of living, like, why is it that 40-50% of your paychecks are going to like your rent, and let alone you got transportation, a car note, insurance, and things of that nature? Like, that's taking the other half. I would say also protecting renters in some capacity, because like, I know landlords can be some dicks, dude. Like, landlords can be some dicks. My mom's staying with a landlord right now. She's out in New York. And I've had a lot of friends that have had landlords. I think it's a little different when you're like leasing from like a complex. But landlords will do any dickish move if it means potentially getting you out and potentially putting in a tenant that's going to be able to pay elevated cost of living, right? And they'll find any little reason to be able to do that. So I think just more protections for renters as well, because especially right now, that little bit, that 5-10% increase in your rent could literally be game changing right now. I think also like a better understanding of the fact that being homeless isn't like a moral failure. It's more of a system failure, right? Like, this should not be, and this is just my personal beliefs, whatever, throw my shit out the window, whatever I say, but I just personally believe this is not a moral failure. Most people are just waking up every day trying to get by, trying to figure out their lives and the direction, the dreams for themselves that they have, and providing for their kids and their family, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You guys get the drift, right? But ultimately, like, people are trying to do their best, and the system just doesn't even account for things like that. Like, I was watching something the other day, and like, it dawned on me, like, I could fucking take a loan out now to go get McDonald's, bro. I could get Klarna or one of these guys to pay for my McDonald's, my Chipotle. This is what we're living in? I gotta go into debt to get a $10 burrito? It's craziness. It's craziness. The point I'm trying to make, I guess, is this all feels like a warning. It feels like a big warning for the future that we're heading to. And this is a crucial time, personally. I believe it's very important to stay like informed, and this is for like for you guys, but also for myself, because sometimes I know I'm someone who I don't really watch like mainstream media or anything like that. I tune all that crap out. Like, so unless things kind of flow to me, I don't really know. I'm not really in the loop like that, and I kind of try to stay to myself. But this is like my part to kind of do like my own due diligence to try and stay a little more informed about things that are going on in the world, in the state of like our current society. I ain't trying to change the world, but I'm trying to inform like myself, so that way I can make strategic decisions on how I'm moving through my life and caring for my family and the people that I love. But yeah, so it's just something to kind of keep in mind and consider as I take every day forward. I just feel like the future should look like working to live and work towards like your dreams, not working to live, right? We all have dreams, and we all want to try and put ourselves in a position where we could succeed and see those dreams forward. And it just feels like right now that's a very difficult thing to do, but I am an optimist, and I believe that there are going to be a lot of changes coming in the future. Sometimes we got to hit that rock bottom for us to be able to build back up, but we gonna get there. Anyways, guys, I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Put your opinions down below. You know how it works. This is not your first time actually jumping into a comment section. I know you guys. I see you guys on Twitter and all these types of things. No, I don't. I don't have social media. But I'm sure you guys are on Twitter and all the other YouTube videos doing that same exact thing. So do it here. I will catch you guys in the next video.